I always felt like a failure. I always told myself and always felt like a failure. Yeah, I was afraid of success. If I get here, what's going to happen?
Right.
The Atlanta Falcons, I couldn't get into it with the Atlanta Falcons. And all of a sudden, I got in with the Atlanta Falcons. Now I'm covering the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to road games.
You have to believe. You got to keep pushing. No matter what. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the POWERUP with WITHROW show. We'll be coming at you again, man, with some live, good content, brother. I got a nice piece for you today. I told you I was coming back with something hot. We're coming back with the comeback stories, where we're going to talk about how you persevere and make it through when life hits you in the mouth. And always remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts with us. And with no further ado, I'm going to introduce to you a man that has come through a lot. He has persevered a lot to fulfill his dreams. Mr. Raphael Haynes, he owns a company by the name of the 3-Point Conversion. He's a sports journalist, and I have him here with us today, and we're going to get right with it. Welcome to the show, big dog.
How you doing, man?
All right,
Glad to be here.
All right, man.
Did you miss me?
Yeah.
We back, baby.
That's what's up. Hey, man, we're going to get right to it, man. First of all, give us a little background, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into journalism and the whole sports podcasting journalism thing.
So I was born in a small town, Alton, Illinois.
Okay.
And, man, just from being born, I don't know. I just know as I came to, I was always into sports. So from the very beginning, I loved football. My grandfather used to call me football. Because my father would take me, my grandmother stayed next door. They stayed next door to us, so we would go over there every Monday night. He would take me since I was an infant over there and watch Monday Night Football. So to the point where he told me my first words were Tony Dorsett. So, so that's all I knew. And then at 13, we moved to Chicago, to the city. And, I just was engulfed in sports and loved sports, all sports. I mean, even from a child, I don't care if it had anything to do with sports. I was just, whether it was golf, rugby, anything that was sports, I was into, just from an early age.
Wow.
And it just progressed, man. And we moved to Atlanta in '96. And I remember, finally, because in Chicago, I kept trying to get on the football team, but I kept changing schools, so I would miss the deadline to get on the team and everything.
Right.
And not bragging, not making this up, but I clocked at a 4.5, man, age of 15.
Right, 4.5 40.
Yeah, on a 40, yeah, and I was just athletic, but I might not look like it now, but I was athletic always. So finally we moved to Atlanta in the spring, in April, and was able to make the football team, at least for that, before the season started. So had to go through the summer practice. And I never forget it. Remember, I'm coming from Chicago.
Right.
And summer practice, man, the first day of practice, it was like 98 degrees.
Humid as I don't know what.
I quit.
Yeah, coming off that lake up there, bro. It's hot.
I regret it to this day, but I quit. I couldn't take it. So, but my philosophy was, always, I'm going to play football, play sports. If I don't play sports, I'm going to coach it. If I don't coach, I'm going to get paid talking about it. So it was always in me to do it. I always wanted to do it. I didn't know how, but I was going to do it. And then just came up with this idea, man, of, what? Well, let me go back. I was invited to do this show, a radio show, to be a guest on it.
Right.
And they liked me so much, they asked me to come on, man, you continue to be on a radio show. It was cool. I liked it. But, and no offense to them, but, you start seeing things like, I wouldn't do it this way. I don't like how it's going.
That's right.
And this is me. They were doing it. They were, I guess, successful. But
right.
So I said, you know what? I'm just starting my own show. I got this show. This is before podcasts was big. You couldn't go live or anything like that. But I had this idea of like, you know what? I'm gonna come up with this company. It was 3 of us, so I'm sitting there like, you know what? I'm gonna name it the 3-Point Conversion.
That's how you came up with
it. Yeah, because we were going to be in it started off in a barbershop where it was going to be 3 of us, and then we would what we would do is we would talk about the hot topics and everything that was going on in sports.
Right.
But what we were going to do was, hey, what we'll do just have a guest from like one of the people that's getting a haircut, is going to get a haircut, you know, clientele, just bring them on the show. We'll talk to the manager and say, hey, we're going to come here. Can we have one of the people that's getting a haircut? They could come on the show, and it'd be 3 of us talking about what's going on in sports.
Right.
And it started to progress and everything, but just like how you see in these big time, music groups that success happens. Because we were doing big. It was nothing like this on radio, on TV or on the internet, But just like it's successful, then it started going bad. They kind of turned on me. Why did you get to be the manager? Why you have cards? Why can't we have cards?
That's when you had the other 2 partners involved.
Yeah. I'm like, y'all can get cards. I mean, they was coming with haymakers hitting me, and I was taking them. And it got to the point I was like, well, let's just take time. Let's, let me sit back, think what we're gonna do, and then from there. Like I said, this is before live going on, before people were doing it. I would go make a video and put it on the internet. This is, at this time, this is 2012.
Right.
I'm making videos, 5-minute videos or what have you. Then hey, let's do this debate show. I was using Zoom back then in 2012 for podcasts and all of that, but not knowing it was going to be a podcast, just doing the show, just 30-minute show we just put on the internet.
Right.
Until next thing you know, someone said, "Hey man, we want you to come on as a podcast. You want to do a podcast on our network?" Did that, started to be successful, and I said, "You know what? I could do this on my own."
Right.
And decided to say, "Hey, I'm gonna just go ahead and make it the company, the 3-Point Conversion, and we're gonna do the radio show or the podcast show." And from there on, it was just that's how we started moving.
Wow, that's a good story. I want to ask you some stuff that's kind of that resonates in me. For anyone who's ever seen any of the Power Up Man series or even the Roundtable Discussion series that we have on our other platforms, you'll know that I'm always one who believes deeply in faith, and who I always give, the Lord his props and his due as it relates to my life and the accomplishments that I've had. So what I want to ask you now are like, in that process of creating the 3-Point Conversion company, right? And it's doing well now. Tell me about some of the pitfalls, some of the obstacles you had. You already told me about one, in which where you started out with 2 partners, and that didn't turn out the way you probably planned, which it happens a lot when you have partners involved. You went off on your own. But tell me, once you started rolling, tell me about some of the things that you encountered, as you progressively move forward to develop your company.
And I'll take it back when I was 18. And the reason why is because, or even further back. So just as a little kid, I've always had low self-esteem. And I had low self-esteem then, and it, I had it, and I had it since I was maybe in my mid-30s. So I always felt like a failure. I always told myself and I always felt like a failure. I would never amount to anything. And then as I got older, it turned into basically not just being a failure, I was afraid of success. So, which to me is deeper.
Self-sabotage?
Yeah, I was afraid of success. If I get here, what's going to happen?
Right.
So, and I mentioned this because it had something to do with everything that was going on as far as nothing's going to work for me. At the age of 18, my mom passed. And she died, we didn't think she was going to pass. I mean, she went to the hospital the day after Memorial Day. I'll never forget it, Tuesday. And the day she went to the hospital, my grandmother, who we lived next door to, I talked about, we lived next door in Alton, Illinois, maybe my first 13 years. And she died, which is her mother. And my mother didn't know. Maybe she knew spiritually, but she didn't know. And then it was like when we were praying for my mother, the prayers weren't going up. Like it was like a ceiling and just blocking it. And I pretty much knew then, after the fact, I knew that maybe she made this covenant with God. But she ended up dying 5 days later. So dealing with my grandmother and my mother. So I'm really thinking like, okay, I can't.
2 funerals like right now.
Yeah, man. And I was supposed to go back to the funeral back in Illinois for my grandmother's funeral, but something told me to stay. Because if I would have went, it was that Saturday. I would have missed. My mom passed, So just witnessing that and dealing with that was part of, there's nothing good going to happen.
Question. No one was telling you that you weren't going to amount to anything.
No.
No one was giving you negative feedback or negative energy.
No.
You just felt this way, and you feel that it started at the loss of your mom.
Well, it started when I was a child.
Previous to that, but
right. But when my mom passed, that was like, anything you do, all this bad stuff is happening to you. So it was just like, wow. Like,
well, you know who was telling you that?
Well, of course, the devil was there, all on my ear.
Yeah.
So no angels, just the devil's telling me that. Right. But we fast forward to when I started the company. When I came up with this idea, I then lost my job. I lost my job, and at the time my wife was pregnant. And I'm
scary thought for a man
that
takes care of the business.
But I'm like, I got to keep this going. Now, meanwhile, this might not seem a lot. I'm paying this cameraman to go ahead and film the show, the 3-point conversion.
Right. So you can get it on the
making
internet.
the cut. Right. This is on the internet, on YouTube.
Right.
So I'm paying him. Might not be as much to a lot of folks, but the fact that I'm not working.
You taking money out of the household.
Yeah, so it was just
that probably didn't go over well with your wife.
Yeah, she and shout out to her because she's at that time she stuck with it. But I'll say, like I said, we mentioned we had a breakup. Then next thing you know, as far as a group or whatever, as I continued on, got the show, everything's going good. But then my father passed away right when I was starting to move. My father passed away. Then a week later, his father passed away. So it's like deja vu, So it's just like, man. But wow. I'm like, you know what? Let me push through this. I'm trying to push through this. So now, as I have my own company.
Any siblings?
Yeah, I have siblings. Right, okay. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay.
So now I'm at the point where I'm pushing through. Now I have this podcast, my own podcast on my company. So it goes to, all right, well, I'm doing a podcast out of the kitchen. I started in the kitchen, then graduated from the kitchen to the living room, living room to the bedroom.
Right.
Moved from the bedroom to the basement, and then we ended up going to the pool house. I had a pool house at the time. Then finally got on the radio. So everything was going great. But here's the thing. When, again, I give her credit as far as, because I know it's hard. And someone warned me about this. Sometimes when they don't see your vision, or if they don't see the blessings coming from the vision, at the time, it's like, okay, you're not making any money. You're not spending time with me or the family, which that's what it was. I had to find a way to bridge that gap. I had to find a balance, which I didn't know how to at the time. So I'm trying to be there, but I'm really not there because my focus is on, I believe it. I'm bleeding. This is the only thing in my life at the time that I ever believed in.
You had a vision.
I had a vision.
Okay, let's elaborate on that. I think this is very important. This is a good one. Women, this is for you. God, man, wife, family. He will give us visions. Okay? We can see ourselves in that. If it's his steps, if he ordered the steps and it was truly a vision from him, that's in the way in which he will bless you. That is what we would call in modern day our lane. Mm-hmm. Okay. However, they don't get the vision, meaning our spouse. And you got to remember that women are all about security.
Right.
That's the natural order of things. Most businessmen, if their wives or their spouses aren't involved in the business, will learn to not even discuss some of the moves that they make. Because usually, if it makes a woman feel like it's going to jeopardize the security of the money that's saved, the money that's in the house, the money that's coming in, they usually are not going to be so rambunctious about supporting you on that.
Right.
However, when the Lord gives you a vision, he will never leave you without the provision. He will give you the resources when it's time for that to come into fruition. Women, this is why it's so important that if you're with a man and if you truly love him and you believe in him, you have to roll with it. You got to support him in that. That's the lane. He will be blessed in that. However, men, we have to show ourselves approved and trustworthy in order for them to trust us in some of those visions.
Yeah.
Because if you've been all over the place all of your life, you got 10 irons in the fire and none of them are hot. Because some people do this. They're all over the place. They've got the next pyramid scheme, the next whatever's hot, they're on it. They're going to get rich. Then they're not focused and entrenched in what it is, and that's just doing what they want to do. Because the Lord don't work like that. When he give you one, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Not to say forever, and there may not be other things that may come about. But he never gives you the vision without the provision. And women, you got to trust your mate to move forward in that, and you'll be blessed. Continue. That was an important point.
And I'll add to that because I think the problem that some men make that we have this vision. Mm-hmm. We know what we want to do. We can see it working. Mm-hmm. But like you said, sometimes, if the woman, she doesn't see it, mm-hmm. and it's up to us to, like you say, try to get her to see, talk to her about the vision. Sometimes they might not want to hear that still because, hey, we need security or I need time or what have you. And I believe my problem was at the time because I didn't know how to balance it. It was just like, okay, hey, this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And it was
this
like,
is what I'm doing, take it or leave it.
And I kept saying, I'm doing this for us. I'm not doing this
for just for me.
But still, if you're not handling your business at home as a husband, that's going through deaf ears. You know, they're not hearing that. And
it's a very, very fine balance.
Yeah, and at the time, I wasn't. Not necessarily like I was just being a horrible husband, not doing anything, you know, doing anything to her or stepping out, anything like that. But just not because I was so focused on this vision.
Adventure, yeah.
And I didn't know how, again, I didn't know how to balance it. I didn't know how to balance that. And if I'm having problems in a marriage or I'm not working towards that because I'm consumed with this vision.
Right.
I see it. Just trust me and all that. So dealing with that part, and this is me dealing with it, dealing with how to balance it, but then the fact of working this job, knowing I don't want to be at this job, not because I hate the job, but for the simple fact that I got something special. I know I got something special. God gave me this.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
So being at work, not happy, knowing you should be at home working on what you want to work on, but because you're not, you can't really fully just invest your time and everything else in it. But yet still, I persevered because what I could do, I did. So now, you know, at this point, now I'm, you know, I want to shout out to my guy, Danny Thompson, one of my brothers. He told me, hey man, this podcast is cool. You can get anybody you want, man. Just talk to these guys and everything, but you need to be now writing and covering these games. And I'll tell you something. So the
journalism,
right?
piece.
So this is how I know this is God. So and I'm sorry to go back again, but before I started the 3-point conversion, what prompted me to go that route is the fact that Bleacher Report was just coming out.
Okay.
And this is before they became big. And Bleacher Report, you know, I was able to get in. I don't know. I can't remember how. But it was like, all right, you want to, you know, submit this application. All right. What we need you to do is write this article. So at the time, I was writing for this big website that they were, you know, they had over like, I think like 600,000, 500,000 people following them. And I was writing for them and I was getting a lot of hits, people with a lot of comments and everything. It was going great. So you will write and you will submit to them and then they'll edit it and everything else.
Right.
So I wrote this article and it did well on that website. So I submitted that article to Bleacher Report. Oh yeah, this would be good. And after I submitted it, I looked at the title and I saw the title and it was a misspelled word on the title. I'm like, oh my God.
You missed it.
Yeah. And I try to hurry up and, hey, can I just want to, I need to fix something.
Yeah, right.
It was like, nope. Next thing you know, I didn't get it. This is about to be my break. And I'm just like, I'm sick. I'm mad at myself for misspelling it, but I'm like, all right, if y'all have editors, that's y'all job to edit. What are you doing?
Right.
But still, I'm mad at myself. So that's what prompted me to say, you know what, I'm going to get my own website and I'm going to make sure whoever I bring on to my company or what have you, I'm going to edit. I went to school. I'm going to make sure that even if I get people that's not in school, I'm going to make sure I teach them, this is how you do this. This is what you do. No, you can't do it. Even I'm correcting them, but I'm letting them know, hey, make sure you can't do this again. And that's what started me with the 3-point conversion. So that helped me out. But moving back forward, like I said, I'm up late till maybe 6 a.m. writing, editing. I'm sorry, to like 3 a.m, 3 or 4 a.m. Because now I'm trying to spend time with my wife and the children. I have at that time, you know, I had, I think a 16-year-old, 16, 12, 4-year-old and a baby. And
You're
months.
quite a busy gentleman.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pick up the baby, trying to spend time.
Enough time for something.
Right.
Yeah. He balanced that time out quite nice.
But look, I'm trying to spend time picking up the baby, play with this one, talk to this, trying to spend time with the wife. Knowing my mind is just on, I got to write this article, I got to do this.
So you kind of get everybody bedded down and then you go to work.
Then I had to go to work. I'll stay up, write, edit, sleepy. Had to get back up at 6:30 in the morning because at the time my wife she was going to work early, so I got to take the girls to school and everything. Then I got to get up. I got to go back to work and all. So I'm doing this for months. I'm tired, but I'm just blood, sweat, and tears. But still, I know this is not to life. Okay, the grind part, I love it because I'm starting to see I had this plan. Next thing you know, I'm covering Georgia State basketball, Georgia Tech. Now I'm doing WNBA.
Wow.
Now I get into MLS, with Atlanta United. So everything looking good, but still, I'm still on Verizon wireless borrowed time because I'm working with them.
Right.
So I can't get out when I want to get out. So now I got to make a decision. I remember I got in with the Braves somehow, just running my mouth. So I got in with the Braves. So now I'm able to go to like certain events. Like I think Brian Snicker was his first year when he won Manager of the Year. So I get the email, hey, you're invited to come. So I'm like, I got to come. But now I have FMLA at the time. Like, I have to come. I got to go. But, there's no more paid time.
Right.
So I go do that. Then, say if it's like the Big Three or another event going on that evening.
So now you're just basically missing days.
I'm missing time leaving early. But now money's coming off my check because this is not paid time. So I get home and she's seeing this like,
hey, how did that go over?
It didn't go well.
Right.
And I couldn't say anything, just like, I'm just quiet. You're not saying anything? I couldn't say anything.
Right.
But still, like I said, just that balance of trying to figure out how can I keep this vision alive and work on this vision, because I know I have faith in this, but faith without works is dead. I used to think all that was just cliche. Hard work pays off. I thought all of that was cliche. But when I saw it working,
yes,
it's like, wow. But I still can't get to where I want to get to as far as making money and dedicating myself because I'm still doing this part-time.
Right. And you have a family.
And I have a family. So how can I do this? And I remember people coming up to me, bro, how you doing all this? You got a full-time job. You got a family. But I had to, I won't say make sacrifices, because I think I was sacrificing my family. You know what I'm saying? At certain points,
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could go back and do this all over again, what would you change?
I would change, I think I would be able to balance it better as far as my days of, okay, this is when I do this, or my time period. Because like I said, when I was staying up late to do it, it was sometimes where I wasn't doing it at first. It was more so, I got to watch this game, because I had to watch the game, so I'll be downstairs watching the game. Mm-hmm. Then after that, I would write. I'm not spending time with the wife or the family. But I just think that I would probably involve her more in that process.
Involve her in the process?
Yes. Have her help me out in the process.
Right. Try to sell her into the dream.
Talk to her about it more.
Right.
This is what, let me show you what this is bringing me. See, I'm here to explain, but I just had this tunnel vision,
Guilty.
Yeah. And it's funny because in some way, when hindsight, I think about it, it's like, would I change it?
You probably couldn't.
And that was the thing. And I didn't know what was going on.
It wouldn't have worked out.
I don't think it would have worked out that way. Maybe. I think I could have tweaked it. Like I said, I wasn't as open. I wasn't
Monday
talking.
morning quarterbacking, right?
Yeah.
We can always
go back and say, right.
We can always make the right call after the game is over.
And that was the thing. And just being honest, I didn't know what else to do, but I got to do this. At some point, I remember telling myself, I don't care, man. I can't.
I'm not going to stop.
I'm not stopping this.
First of all, and I don't like to call it entrepreneurship because if anyone's seen any of the videos in the previous recordings, I always say I don't really like to glamorize the term entrepreneurship.
Right.
Because I think that term has been abused by people who are just like not really doing anything. Let's call it business. As a business owner, you have to be relentless, especially when you look like us. You have no choice, because 100% or even 100 miles per hour is not good enough. So, the only way we can persevere, the only way we can accomplish that vision that we've seen and we've been given, is that we have to go hard or go home, because life will chew you up and throw you on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So this is for the guys. I'm gonna speak to the men because I am a man and I don't really know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. So from my perspective as a man, and a man who's always had a family, that is the thing that we struggle with. That is a problem. Meaning we're trying to move the family forward, and you're not spending the time with your wife and children like you would like. But in order to catapult them forward, you have to stay on it.
You have to.
You got to drive that wagon. They're in the back. They're with you, but you're out front. So if someone is in the back, sick, hurting, having a problem, you can stop momentarily to go back there and check and see what's going on. But if you're not the person who's equipped to handle exactly what's going on back there, you have to keep progressing forward to get them to the help, to get them to the point where you need to get to.
Right.
So that's something that we struggle with in manhood. And I question a lot. I look at, even to this day, my daughter is like 27 and 28. But when I have a picture in my office of them when they were like 6 and 7, right? And that's around the time where I had 2005, I created my company. And when I went off on my own and started grinding, but I had been grinding all my life, even with the family business. So I was always like gone and stuff. I was always working. I would work for days sometimes, like literally days, like spend the night. Or maybe go home and just change clothes and come back. Or because we're in transportation, so I might be on the road driving. I'd be gone for a week, come back for one night, get some sleep, and I'm out again. I would cry sometimes in the driveway with my little daughter. She was a beautiful little girl, and she'd look at me in the window, and I'd sit in the driveway and cry because I wanted to be there with her. I wanted to spend time with her, but I knew what I wanted to see for my family. So it's that balance that you keep speaking about that's difficult. And this is why the women, it's your part to help us with that. And not beat us over the head and slam dunk us, but to support us and meet us in the middle as we try to navigate for what's good for not just our family, and maybe even like we're supposed to be doing for generations. For what we do, 2-3 generations down the line should see the work that we've put in, right?
All right.
How do you do this? If we weren't trust fund babies, if Uncle so-and-so didn't introduce us to the bank president and he said he's a good fella, get him whatever he needs. He's starting a new business, give him the loan, give him the line of credit. Give him a building with good terms. Give him the hookup with the people in the industry to catapult this guy. We don't have these things. We usually coming out the gate raw and uncut and with a lot of obstacles.
And the discussion continues. Click the link below to watch part 2 with Raphael Haynes, sports journalist and owner of 3 Point Conversion.
The Power Up with Keith Withrow show is sponsored by Motor Coach Consulting International. Excellence in ground transportation.